What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first edition of Coffee with Colin 2021. Wow, we made it. We finally got through one of the most precarious years I think we will ever have to go through, hopefully. And man, I just got to say thank you for everyone who's helped me get through this past year, because I'm sure like you, I'm just glad that year is behind us and then we can look forward to an amazing new year together. So grab your coffee or your adult beverage. You know, after the year that we had, I may have put a couple of these in here. So, I am Irish after all. But thank you for being here. It is Monday, and again, the first Monday of the year. And I just want to say, wow, I am so excited for this year, and a lot of the great things that I've got going on. And what's great about this whole thing is the community that we've been creating through all of this, through Coffee with Colin, through my Inspire 6-week masterclass that just started yesterday. It has just been awesome to be a part of everyone who's been a part of all of this. And you know what I've realized is that this whole year, I think the theme of this past year has been all about resiliency. Wouldn't you agree? Where, you know, we have been through so much. And if we look back from where we started 2020 to where we are at right now, we've been through an incredible, insurmountable amount of things. I mean, just having kids at home all day long. I don't have kids, thank God, but my brother and my sister do, and God bless them, and God bless everyone out there who has kids, but it's a lot. And that being said, also with work and just with, you know, the toll that this whole thing has been taking on us, I think looking at where we are at right now, I think we can just take a pause and just say, you know what, we made it. We made it, we're here. And it just goes to show you that we are stronger than we think we truly are. And I just want to make you just kind of aware of that, because sometimes we think that, you know, we're not good enough, or we're not, like, we don't have what it takes, but you do, because you made it this far. And I'm excited to have my guest on here tonight, because he epitomizes what I think the word resiliency means. This guy has been an actor for quite a while, and his resume is long and deep. I'm jealous of this guy. He's also one of my favorite actors, because he was also on one of my favorite television shows, Band of Brothers. And if you guys haven't seen this miniseries by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, I would highly recommend, after you watch this, to go to HBO or wherever you can find this thing and watch Band of Brothers. It is a miniseries about the 101st Airborne that dropped into France on D-Day, and they made their way into Germany and to the final defeat of Hitler. But through this whole miniseries, you see what these guys actually have been through. And my next guest plays just an amazing, incredible character. And there's an amazing episode that he has in there where it's truly the epitome of what resiliency is. Now, you guys may know him from the TV show Walking Dead as Sergeant Abraham Ford. He was also in Southland, which was an incredible TV show about the Los Angeles Police Department. Worked with another one of my favorite actors, Ben McKenzie, and he actually received won a Critics' Choice Award for Best Supporting Actor in Southland. He also has been in a ton of TV shows, and these are just a few of my favorites. He was in 21 Jump Street, Growing Pains, Beverly Hills 90210, Party of Five, Home Improvement, Nip Tuck, which I was in an episode of as well. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him about that show. Prison Break, Lost, and one of my mom's favorite television shows, Young Sheldon. So without further ado, please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Michael Cudlitz. Thank you, Michael, for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love that. My mom's favorite. That always gets me. That was my big thing when I did Southland with Ben McKenzie, who had just come off the OC, and he was this heartthrob. And still is, but at the time was just like, you know, everybody was going crazy, and we had some people run up to us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, can you hold this while we take a picture?" And they handed me the purse, and they took pictures with Ben, and then she taking the purse back. She goes, "My mom loves you," and she ran off. And I just the moms apparently have a thing for for my career.
Yeah. Well, don't feel bad. I was on a soap opera, so I've
Oh,
got
you get
quite
it.
a few moms that know me pretty well as well. So, but thanks for being here, Michael. I appreciate your time, and I know a lot of fans are looking forward to hearing what you have to say about a lot of great stuff. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there. This has been I've been looking forward to this. I'm back up in quarantine in Toronto because I'm going back to work again. So it's literally the only thing I have to do besides study is this. So,
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could help.
I'm going to probably talk to you for about 3 days.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could help break it up for you. So awesome. You're obviously working on a new project.
Yeah, we right before quarantine, I was cast in the pilot for the show called Clarice on CBS. It's like a sequel to the Clarice Starling role that Jodie Foster played. And it takes it up about 6 months to a year later after catching Hannibal.
Awesome.
And moving forward with her career through the FBI that was not covered in the books.
So obviously after Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
One of like the best movies ever.
Yeah. But and it's interesting and very timely because it's, early 90s when women were not really in the FBI or not really moving up in the ranks. And so there's a lot of interesting things that really sort of connect with what's going on today. So it's a really, really good show. A great script written by Alex Kurtzman. Probably the best pilot I've ever read.
Really?
Yeah. And that's why I was so excited about it. And I don't say that about a lot of things. I say things are really good or this and that, but this is the best pilot I think I've ever read.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah.
So when would that be then slated to air?
Strangely enough, very quickly. We didn't start production until September, and we're going on air February 11th. So we're coming up on it.
All right. 2 days after my birthday, and I read that you just had a birthday recently, right?
I did.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 37.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Well, were you able to celebrate with your family?
I was able to be home for that. It was funny. The schedule kept changing, and the amount of time we have 3 weeks off total, 3.5 weeks off for the holiday, and to go home meant that I had to come back and quarantine again. So my 3.5 week holiday turned into 6 days at home, and then I had to come back and quarantine. And then every time they readjust the schedule, I'd find out I was starting a day later and a day later. So I wound up being able to stay home for 10 days. And
oh, nice.
My birthday was part of that, but the day after my birthday, I hit it back.
Okay.
So, which is good. It was great to just be able to be home for Christmas, and the kids were home, and it was pretty wonderful.
Nice. So you obviously married, have I think 2 kids?
Married my college sweetheart. We've been together for 34 years, married 30. Yep. And
awesome.
My kids, twins, and they're 20. What are those? They'll be 24 in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so through this whole pandemic, do you feel like you've gotten to know your family better? Have you guys been on each other's nerves, wanting to?
Yes. All of the above.
Yeah.
My kids went away to school, and I've been traveling a lot. So this year, in many ways, has been good for my family. Maybe not great financially, as everybody knows, but my wife and I joked, said there's gonna be a lot of divorces and a lot of babies after this, And because if you can make it through this, if you were just getting together and you were dating and you were able to make it through this, locked up like this, you're fine. You can get through anything.
Was there anything new that you discovered about your wife?
My life or my wife?
Your wife.
No, I think we both discovered that we do, like our traveling, or my traveling, is actually great for us, even though it was wonderful to be connected, because we would find ourselves each really wanting to get some just complete quiet time. Hey, I'm going to go out and sit in the hammock for a little bit and read for a couple hours and maybe pass out back there. Just as much as we were together, that taking care of yourself is really, really important.
Yeah.
My wife started, when we met, she was an actress, wonderful actress. But as you know, it's hard for guys. It's exponentially harder for women. And then you go to women of color and this and that, and it goes down the line as how much harder it gets to get work in this industry. So it was very hard for her to work. And at one point she said, the thing I love most to do in my life is the thing that brings me the most pain. So I need to stop that.
Yeah.
So she stopped, and she decided, she said, let's have kids, let's raise a family. And when the kids were all grown up, she decided she was going to go back into her creative side, and she'd been dabbling with writing on the side, and now she's kind of doing it full time. She's written a novel, written 4 or 5 pilots, a screenplay, and she's
Awesome.
really, really good. I mean, I feel like like we
Yeah.
read scripts all the time. When you read something good, it stands out, because there's a lot of stuff that's not very good that gets produced, which is always mind blowing to me.
I'm always leery of my friends or people I know that I kind of care about handing me scripts, because I'm like, do you really want me to be honest, or do you? And it's like, and sometimes I'm reading, I'm like, wow, really?
No, exactly. You're 4
Amazing.
pages in, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not married, and so obviously I'm not doing something right.
No, it's just not. It's not the right time. I got a buddy who.
That's what I agree with you.
You force it, then what do you want? Do you want to be happy once, or you want to be married 6 times?
Yeah, I've always just I always knew that there would be time for that. I didn't want to rush into anything before I really got to know myself, because I knew from an early age that I just had a lot of growing to do. I wanted to explore the world, and I only want to get married once. I mean, I know there's no guarantees with anything, but I've always just put my career as just something that was my priority, and now my priorities are starting to shift more to where that's something that I definitely want in the near future. What would you say for someone like myself, or people out there who are thinking about getting married, for someone who's been in a relationship for as long as you have, obviously have succeeded with it? I'm sure there's been ups and downs. What would you say are maybe some, 2 or 3 key components to having a successful marriage?
I'm always hesitant, because I think every relationship is completely different. And I would never want to say one thing works, and to the exclusion of something else. So let's just say that I am not, this is not the be all and end all. But if you are to, sort of go to some things that definitely work, communication is huge. As my wife says, cop to your own bullshit. Because I think a lot of times we hang on to things that, that ego becomes involved, and it winds up, deteriorating. And never go to bed mad. You can be pissed off, but don't be pissed off at each other. Come to some understanding before you go to bed.
Yeah,
that's like old grandma stuff.
Yeah.
Don't ever go to bed mad. Shut up.
I still love you.
I love you. Shut up. I mean, I remember early on in our relationship, my wife and I had gotten into I'm sure it was silly argument about something, and we almost never fight. We disagree often. We get into it, little scraps here and there, but we don't. There are very few knockdown dragouts. I don't even know if there ever has been. But one point she got really upset with me, and she it was like a year into our marriage, and she stormed out of the bedroom and was like, sleep on the couch. And I was like laying there, and I was stewing on it, and I was like, I can't let this happen. And I went and I grabbed my blanket and I laid down on the floor in front of the couch.
Oh,
and she's like, let me lay there for a second. She's like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm not, I'm not going to let you sleep out here without me. We're not going to let this come between us right now. So it was so we talked a little bit, and then we went back in the bedroom. But,
and that is why you are still married.
Probably. Obviously, she's an idiot because, like, she said yes, but other than that, I don't know. I go, oh my gosh, she's perfect. She's so smart. And then I go, yeah, but she's still made this choice. So
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I don't know if it's again. It's not the same for everybody. A lot of it has to do with being lucky. To be honest,
Mm,
she was going to become a doctor at one point, and had she gone to medical school, we never would have met.
mm,
Had
yeah.
my folks not gotten divorced, and my dad moved to California, we maybe never would have met.
Mm,
So it's like you can say, you know, all my choices or all my reasoning or all my, this and that. I'm a great husband. Blah blah blah. Like, who knows? I think
y-
so much of it is up to chance, and you just have to be willing to take that chance. You
yeah.
know?
So would your philosophy be more so like you're not really into the philosophy of the stars aligned for
No,
you and your wife to meet?
no, no. I don't think it's. I don't think it's that out of our control. I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
And she's wonderful. That's my partner forever.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say there's some things that are out of our control, and then there's some things that you just attract into your life based on where you're at in life. And so I'm of the mindset of you and your wife were just looking for the same thing at the same time, and you just happened to be in the same place enough where you guys were somehow, some way found each other, attracted each other, and then made it work from there.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because when you ask that, because these are things you don't really usually talk about.
Yeah.
Um, so when you say it, it makes it more real.
Well, welcome to
Um,
Coffee with Colin.
yeah. No, no, no. It's interesting because it's like I think that there probably there, and I'll probably get myself in trouble with this one. There are probably many people out there who could be for you, and I say could. I think it's how you either grow together or you grow apart once you do
Mhm.
meet under those circumstances. And my wife and I, we both started out in school together as actors. We knew what the career was like. We traveled together.
Mhm.
Um, uh, so we traveled with the whole family. We homeschooled, and the kids came with us, and it was like and that we had these life experiences that pulled us together, that we shared, as opposed to me going off. This business does that; it can tear a family apart just
Mhm.
from proximity. And I wasn't off in Europe for 6 months alone. I wasn't in England doing Band of Brothers for 10.5 months alone. They were out there for 6.5 months of it. And we
Okay.
toured all over Europe. Every chance we got a moment or some time down, we'd grab the kids and we'd go. So that a lot of that is just growing together. And
Mhm.
people do over time. They grow apart, and there's no animosity. You probably have friends that are like, yeah, we're just not we're gonna get divorced, and we love each other and stuff, but it's just not working, and it's you feel that you could slowly drift apart.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. She's my best friend. She's my best critic. She reads everything before I do it. When I'm directing, I come up with all my notes on the script, and then I send her the script and compare what she has to say about it with what I do. So she's an amazing creative partner. Um, I don't know. It's interesting because when it does work, it's, I don't want to say effortless, but there's people out there who are listening to this understand. It's like, yeah, there's rough times and stuff, and people say, oh, it takes a lot of work. It does take a lot of work, but the work is effortless if you love doing it. It's like what we
Mhm.
do as a career. We're actors, but when we're working, you don't feel like you work a day in your life.
Yeah.
You love doing it, and something that
Yeah.
you love doing is not considered work.
Yeah. And when you're
So
living your life's passion, when you're doing
yeah,
what you love with the people that you love, that's when you catch lightning in a bottle.
yeah.
And it seems like you have. So one of our watchers here, Ann Parody, asked, have you ever used anything from your relationship? Has that made its way into any of your TV shows you've done? Specifically, The Kids Are All Right.
I was going to say probably The Kids Are All Right because Mary McCormick, who played my wife, who was so amazing, we would get into it all the time in the show, and some of the people who hadn't been married very long would say things like, "Oh, I don't know if you'd say that. Like that's like really mean." And I'm like, "You obviously haven't been married." Because you do, like from an outsider, you say things to each other because you're so comfortable with each other that from the outside look very mean and probably are very mean in the big scope of things, but they're not. They're done with so much love
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's yes, and I've used much of my relationship as sort of something to sort of compare or as a backstop
Yeah.
for doing The Kids Are All Right because we what in that show we were in a situation where we were married, Irish Catholic family, 8 kids, all boys, um, ranging from 6 months to 22 years old, and so we've been married a long time, and everything that comes with being married for a long time was in
Yeah.
there, and I thought it was really really accurate. Tim Doyle did a great job writing it, and it was so wonderfully true to a relationship. With all its ups and downs, and it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of love, but there's a lot of sharp edges in that love.
So true. And speaking of relationships, I read that Steven Spielberg, who directed Band of Brothers, right?
He produced. Stephen was Tom actually wound up directing episode 9, sorry 5, and Stephen was supposed to direct the first episode, and that was the year. I don't know if everyone remembers he had one of his kidneys removed.
Oh no, I didn't
It
know
was
that.
around like November, and he was scheduled. It was like October, November of like '98, as we were coming into to '99, and we were getting no of '99. We started in 2000, and we all thought, he's like October, November. That's kind of kidney, and then we're supposed to direct in April. I don't know if that's gonna be, and they hadn't said he wasn't doing it anymore, but we were all
Mhm.
kind of going, yeah, I think that's gonna probably not happen.
Okay.
Anyway, as we got closer, we found out that Phil Alden Robinson was going to direct the first episode. But when Stephen was going to do it, the first episode was actually going to be, this is almost never talked about. It was supposed to be an hour and a half episode, the first one, and he was going to set the tone for the entire piece, and then everything was going to follow that. So once that was sort of taken, and he wasn't able to do that, there was really no benefit in him doing it because it
Mhm.
would almost him directing would almost detract from the story, meaning people would be talking more about the episode that he directed
Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
his entire piece that he wanted everyone to see and enjoy that we had already gone on the journey with. So him
Mhm.
either doing the first one or the last one is the only thing that really makes sense.
Okay. Well, I read that he and his wife have a rule where they don't go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other.
Yeah, we had 3-week rule,
Okay.
which was totally smashed by this job and COVID and
Yeah.
quarantining.
Well, this is an outlier, but just yeah, man. As I want to talk about Band of Brothers because it's like I've said, it's just one of my all-time favorite miniseries. Um, I mean, obviously working with Steven and Tom Hanks and just an incredible cast and crew. What was that like for you? How was the audition process? Was it grueling? I heard you guys all went through like basic training, like legit to get ready for that. Was it, what was that whole experience like for you?
It was kind of amazing, the whole process. It took a while. There were a lot of us. They were not sure how they wanted to cast it. They weren't sure if they wanted to go with stars or no names, and So as the process kind of started out in the beginning, where they were auditioning everybody all across the world on different coasts and nations and everything, and it started funneling down smaller and smaller to a smaller group of guys, it emerged that they were, obviously looking for either character actors who had done as much as you could do at that age. And then the ages were, everyone was from like, we were all playing 18, 19-year-olds. And I think I was the oldest one. I was actually 35 when I did it. And then Neil McDonough was 34. He was just behind me. And then it went down from there up down to actually 19-year-olds. Or they were going to hire famous kids, I won't even say who it was, because it's that stuff doesn't sit well with people when they hear it. There were a lot of very famous people who were auditioning, and they were not hired because they weren't good. They were hired because they were famous. They were not hired because they were famous.
Okay.
David Schwimmer was the only person who really had a huge career. There were some people, obviously, that you knew. We knew their names, and they were doing stuff. Donnie Wahlberg had done some stuff, and a bunch of the other guys had done. We'd all done stuff. But we were kind of like those guys that you know our faces maybe, but not necessarily our names. Yeah. And I think that's what they wanted to lean into, because they didn't want anything to detract from the story of the men. But when you're in auditioning and you see, this, you walk in a room and you see somebody and you're like, oh crap, they can get them. Well,
exactly.
Why would they hire me? I mean, not that I'm not talented, but like I'd hire him. It's like we can get him to do it.
Yeah.
So it was very clear that they decided to not go in that direction, just to hire character actors and then go from there. And wonderful process. We all auditioned, did mix and matches. We read with Tom. Tom was reading, and Steven was on a little mini camcorder recording. Everything, and. I think I went in 3 or 4 times over the course of like 4 months.
Yeah. So for those of you who, like, a lot of my viewers are, aspiring actors, parents of aspiring actors. So what was that audition process like? I've shared with some people that, for a TV show, it can be as many as 5, 6 auditions. First with the casting director, then they bring you in to read for the producers, and then it's the director, and then you're constantly just on. The further along you go on the process, you try not to talk about it or jinx it, but then the further along you get in the process, then your lawyer gets involved. They start negotiating contracts, and episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're like, do you want a double banger? You're gonna have a weight room in your trailer. I'm like, I don't care about a weight room in my trailer in year 7. I just want to make sure they get the damn job. Yeah. So what was that like for you? I mean, over 4 months. You've got to have a lot of resiliency with regards to, okay, am I going to get this? I can't think about it because I'm going to drive myself crazy if I keep obsessing about this. What do you do to kind of just hold that space of possibility, but not, putting too much pressure on yourself?
Yeah, I always, it's much easier now that I'm older. And it got easier in the middle of my career when I was auditioning a lot. If you're auditioning a lot, it's easier because one thing takes the place of the other. It's like the horrible great example of that would be when you're young and you think you fall in love and you're crushed right up until the moment where you meet somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're not as crushed anymore. It's sort of like, who?
Yeah.
The same goes for when you're auditioning and you fall in love with a character or a project. You put everything into that, and then you don't know, you're left hanging, and then then the next thing comes along, so you have to bury yourself in that, and that's what you do. I always looked at it from a very, very early on because I was very fortunate. I started auditioning after college for the casting directors who saw me at our showcase who thought I was a really good actor. So they would bring me in for things that I wasn't right for, and I knew I wasn't right for, and I was like, early on, I was thinking, why are you even doing this? Like this is a waste of my time, isn't it? And I realized it wasn't. And I came to the realization that I'm not auditioning for this job necessarily. I'm auditioning for my next job. So go in there and do the best that you don't do. Like, you got a million people in the room who are literally ready to not hire you. They want to hire you, but you got a million people who are going to not hire you. You don't have to be one of them. Like, you got to be in your own camp. It's like, why would these 15 people sitting here want to hire you if you don't even want to hire you?
Yeah, exactly.
So early on, I was like, you know what? If I'm going in, there's a chance I can do it, because they can change things. They can change the age. That's all on them. I'm going to go in and I'm going to crush it. And if I don't get it, they're going to remember me, and they're going to bring me in for something else that they see me do something, and now they're going to twist it and figure out what they think it could be applied to.
Yeah.
And that's going to turn into another opportunity down the road.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I continue to do, as I say this. I'm not auditioning for this. I'm auditioning for the other that I don't even know exists yet.
It's good advice. Yeah. And it usually takes, like, from my experience, 3, 4, 5 times going in for a casting director before they would trust you enough to know that, okay, you know what, I've seen his range. I see what he can do, to enough where, because I mean, their butts are on the line as well.
Oh yeah.
They get, the stamp of, they give you the stamp of approval, and then they send you off to set, and, it falls down on them if you're not the right person. So you do have to go in there a few times before you, I think they really kind of get a sense of who you are, what you're capable of doing.
Well, especially if they're bringing you right to producers. A casting director wants nothing more than to cast the role as quickly as possible. That's what they want to do. They want you to nail it so that they can get on to the next role tomorrow. They don't want to have to call in 5 more, 8 more, 15 more guys that they have to pre-read. And then they have to, this is like they want nothing more than for you to nail it. So if you're being brought in.
They want you to succeed.
Exactly. And nobody in that room wants you to succeed more than the casting director who brought you in. And that's what people need to realize too. Because sometimes you go, that casting director doesn't like me. They bring me in, and I'm like, bro,
they wouldn't bring
you in.
They would.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
And you can tell, like, I've been there, and they're like, come on, just like I'm your biggest cheerleader in this room of like 40 network executives, and they're just like, you can tell they're just like, sometimes they give you that little twinkle in their eye, and they're like, okay,
you got this.
You got this. Yeah, it's good. One of my viewers, Kimberly Cool, has a question about rejection, and her question is, how do you deal with rejection? And do you do something to cheer yourself up, or do you have a routine like a tub of ice cream or a bag of Cheetos? Do you tell
I'd be
yourself,
as big as a whale if it was a tub of ice cream.
Do you tell yourself anything, or have something you keep close to remind yourself that you're awesome despite the rejection?
No, not necessarily. I think you just process it. You go through it. It's important that you're happy in your life as well. Like, you can't put everything on your work, and especially in this business, it's like, if I were to put everything on what other people think, that literally is giving other people the power to decide how every moment of my life is going to go. Like, I'm only happy if they say or think that I'm good, or what. Like, that's just you can't have that.
Was that something you always knew about yourself? Did you believe in yourself that much as an actor, or was that something that you just kind of
I think you learned it over
gained
time.
Your confidence with?
Yeah, I think you learn it over time, and then that doesn't mean, like, look, it hurts, especially if you fall in love with something, a project, and you really feel like you're right for it. You creatively are excited by it. The material speaks to you, and you put a lot of work into it, and then to not have it happen can be devastating. But you can't live in that moment. You have to move on. It's like you find there's a reason you didn't get it. You might not know the reason. You might not like the reason. You may not agree with the reason, but there's a reason for everything. Which goes back to your thing with relationships, and is it really? Maybe it is. There's things happen for a reason, and you don't always have to like the reason. That's not your choice. Um, the important thing is to be happy outside of that particular thing. So when the failures do happen, or the rejections, not failures, the rejections happen, that doesn't start to define you. You have something else that you either love to do, or a support group that knows you, and you're able to go do things that do support you creatively and make you feel good. That's why people go to class, and they go to hang out with their friends who are like-minded. It's that's your life. The one blip job that was, even if you got it, that was going to be over in 5 months. That doesn't define you.
Right.
It's part of what defines you, if they're career markers. But the fact that you didn't get called back for something, or you didn't book something, that doesn't define you, and it can't. And if it does, like you probably have other things you need to look at in your life.
Yeah, and I think what you said is true about just surrounding yourself with the right camp of people. Who I like to surround myself with people who just remind me of who I am, because sometimes if I don't get the job, or if things don't work out, it does smart. It does hurt. And it's like almost going through the grieving process of, the 7 stages of grief, whatever it is. And at a certain point, whether it's a breakup, or being let go from a job, or whatever it is, I think my bestest of friends are always the ones that are just straight to the point and like, dude, you are better than this. Get up, get back on the horse. This is what you love to do. And my brother is one of those people. My brother always would remind me, he was like, dude, you've worked too hard. You've come too far to give up now. And I'm like, after like a 5-minute conversation with my brother, I'm like, damn it, he's right. And I just, I want to get back to it. And it's mainly because I just love what I do, to the point where it's something that, like, when I wake up in the morning, I can't not want to act. I can't not want to perform. And when you find that, then the way I look at it is, you take the so-called rejection and you just learn from it. You use it. And the way I look at it is, even if if I don't get that job, or, the relationship ends, man, there's so much opportunity out there. And I think we sometimes think that, just we lose that one opportunity, and then that's it, and our life is over.
It's such a weird circumstance, and we give our power over to other people.
Yeah.
It's like, when you really, really think about it, here this is how ridiculous it is. This thing that is supposedly, this rejection that has happened, wasn't even in your life 4 days ago. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's audition. It's like, you didn't even get the initial audition until. How is this going to ruin your life? It didn't even exist 4 days ago. And then to take it even further, we should be more upset about the bigger rejections. They didn't even call us in. What about all those jobs that they didn't call you in for? Like, how can you?
That's true.
This is the actor's psyche, how we load all this crap.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Like, what did you do? You let something that wasn't even a possibility 4 days ago is now going to crush you? Like, I mean, okay. Like, yes, it'll sting. It'll give you, maybe a couple bad hours, maybe a bad day, but like, it is not going to take you down.
Right.
I mean, and if it does, again, you have some other things you need to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is definitely all about priorities and reminding yourself what you're grateful for as well. Because the main things in life that are the priorities, friends, family, those are the things that have gotten me through the rough times. So it's all about the people you surround yourself with, for sure. And so through that experience of doing Band of Brothers, playing an actual, real character in history, was he still alive when you guys shot? Did you get to meet him?
He
Did you?
was interestingly enough, we didn't know that at first, which is a very strange thing because they'd interviewed all the guys. They did the documentary first, which was the documentary is the
Stephen
bookend
Ambrose.
piece. Yeah, but it's the book.
Yeah.
It's just the interviews with the guys in the
Okay.
black and with the black background and just the silhouettes. Um, they what's his company called? Tom Hanks's company,
Plato.
Playtone. I could see the logo and I couldn't read it in my head. Playtone had produced this documentary, and in the producing of the documentary, they realized they were going to do the 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 miniseries. And the miniseries was when Tom had done his research for Saving Private Ryan. He stumbled across the book because Private Ryan was in the 101st Airborne, and he did his back research, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this book would actually make its own amazing, uh, film piece," and wound up doing and then obviously expanded to a miniseries. But I had conversations with them once I got in the role, and they gave us a bunch of numbers that we could call with men who either, in some cases, you got your vet and you could call your vet and talk to him. In other cases, when your vet wasn't alive or they couldn't find them, you had friends of that vet that they would put you in touch with that were all willing to talk to you. And I was talking to a couple of people about Denver, it's Denver Randleman, and they called him Bull. So I'll call him Denver. Denver, he has some buddies who are still alive, and they told me that Denver had passed. And I was talking to one guy one night, and he says, "Well, I don't really remember what happened. It was either," he said, "it was either this guy or that guy." He goes, "Well, you should call Denver and ask him." And I was like, and I hear it in my head, I'm like, "Oh my
This
gosh,
guy lost it. Like,
no!" I'm thinking he doesn't know his buddy's dead.
oh,
So I'm like, how do I even? I'm like, well, they've not been able to get in touch with him. Uh, when's the last time you talked to him? He's like, "Oh, I
yeah.
talked to him 2 weeks ago."
Oh my.
I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I was told he had died. He had passed 6 months ago.
Okay.
I said, "Well, here's the deal." I said, "I'm going to have to get back to you," I said, "because I'm going to have to go try to find him because they were not under the impression that he was with us anymore." And he's like, "Oh no, I talked to him 2 weeks ago." So I said, I got his phone number, and then I went back to production, and I had them contact him first because I don't even know if he knew that the movie was going on or what. Hey, I'm the guy
Yeah.
playing you in the movie. Like, what?
Yeah.
So production got back in touch with him. They were quite embarrassed that they had not found him because they did a pretty extensive search on all these guys. So they were a little humbled by that, and thankful, obviously, that we had found one more because he had not been going to any of the reunions. He had sort of pulled himself back from all that, and he was 82 when I met him. So he gets to do whatever he wants. You 82 years old, you want to disconnect from the world, knock yourself out. You've earned
Yeah.
it. Free. Single-handedly or multi-handedly responsible for saving the free world. Knock yourself out, buddy. At 82,
19 years old.
At 19,
18, yeah.
you're 82.
Yeah.
You get to do what you
You
want.
can't drink alcohol, but
Yeah.
you can save
Exactly.
the country
Exactly.
from a dictator. Yeah.
But so I wound up getting in touch with Denver and became very close with his family, Vera, and his wife Vera, and his son and his daughter. They are sadly all passed at this point, including his children. He actually survived one of his kids, which is, I can't imagine living longer than your children as a parent. But just a wonderful, wonderful family. Very, very. I don't want to cheapen it by using this word, so I say this word with love and only love. He was a very simple man, just wonderful. You know, didn't didn't waste words.
Mm.
Didn't waste a moment. He this explains him in a nutshell. He worked for the Caterpillar company. He used to was a mechanic for heavy equipment, and after he met my family, he went and got Christmas and birthday presents for my kids for the next 10 years
Wow.
because he didn't know if he was going to be around, and he didn't want to take too many trips. So, and what they were the replicas, scale replicas of all the Caterpillar equipment, the dump trucks and the graders and the bulldozers and the backhoes and the steamrollers and all that stuff.
Mm.
And he got a set for each of the kids, and he would send them out, you know, every birthday and Christmas.
Awesome.
So
yeah, it was really cool to see the actual guys that were in World War II, part of the 101st Airborne. At the beginning of each of the series, they do like, you know, the little 2, 3, 4 minute clips of interviewing these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And man, just it's heartbreaking just to see just them talking about it. It was, you can see that it's almost as if like they're right back there seeing their best friend get shot. And a lot of these guys have seen so much that we will never, ever be, you know, comprehend what it was like to be that way. So I can understand why they would be as, you know, maybe as quiet and as simple as they are, because I could see where they would look at us where we complain about like down Wi-Fi or, you know, stupid things like slow service at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And when you put things into perspective, just watch Band of Brothers and you can see like this whole theme of resiliency, of seeing what these guys actually went through. And the fact that, you know, when these guys come back, and even nowadays, people, guys, women coming back from war, I think it's important to understand and try to have a little more compassion for what service people actually have been through, because we will never comprehend what it's like to be next to someone and, you know, be spending so much time with these, you know, your best friends, your brothers, and then the next minute a bomb goes off and they're not there anymore. I can't even fathom what that must have been like.
Yeah, that's I think those guys truly lived in the moment. I think I would guess from it. This exposed me to a lot of this. I have a lot of friends in the military. Through this series, through the traveling with the series, through traveling with Denver around the world and talking about this, and the amazing men and women that I have had the privilege to come in contact with, and the stories they tell, I would say that war is probably one of those places that puts you more in the moment than we can comprehend. If you want to talk about actually living in the moment. That's to me that is something that puts you there whether you want to be there or not.
Yeah.
You are literally living from one moment to the next fully.
Yeah.
Because it may be your last, you know, and it's very it's very obvious, I think, and I don't think we live our lives in that way. Thank God, you know. I mean, it's like that we don't have, you know, we don't think we're going to be, you know, dead in you know, what today might be our last day. I feel like some of that we should grab onto because it maybe make us do more, and I don't mean like physically do more. I mean just be more, live life more. If we had a little bit of a sense of a ticking clock, but we definitely don't. You know, you don't need to live as if you're going to be dead tomorrow.
Well,
otherwise you will be dead tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe by the end of the day.
Well, I think you played Denver, you know, incredibly. I think you lived up to the honor of who he was as a man. I just felt like you played him, and you know, pretty much everyone in the show. Just phenomenal acting through and throughout, and I loved how stoic and how like strong your character was, but in those moments of when you could just see when you're in that barn with the German girl and her father comes in and she knocks over the pail, and you have that choice to either you could kill her, and otherwise if she lives, then she can tell the Germans. And you had so much, you could see the compassion in your eyes and how much, you cared. And so these guys aren't just like full-fledged killing machines. They're human beings. And you
And
brought
they were
such a
kids.
humanity to
Yeah.
this character.
Yeah, and thank you. But they were kids. I think that's what we
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
They were kids that we sent off to save the world from evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to get to another one of your, obviously one of your major projects that a lot of people are big fans of, and that's Walking Dead. And you were on that show for how many seasons?
It was like I was talking about this to somebody else. I did half of season 4, all of 5, all of 6, and the first and the last episode of 7. So I only did 2 full seasons, but
Okay.
it seemed like longer.
Was it any different from most of your work? I mean, obviously zombies.
Oh
And like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
No, it was great.
but you got
It
to
was.
be
Are you
realistic.
kidding? Like to
I
play the
mean, you
guy
got
with the
to
big
bring
red flat top and the
realism to these.
mustache. Like it was a permission slip to like do whatever you want, as long as you grounded it.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't even complete a sentence, without swapping everything around. He was like listening to somebody, you know, have fun cursing in English and run it through Google Translate. He would just like he spoke emotion. He didn't speak clearly. Sometimes he would ramble on and on. You're like, if you were to actually look at what he said in a paragraph written down, you'd be like, I have no idea what the hell that means.
Did you improvise?
But
Oh,
no,
no.
but emotionally you knew, like you didn't know what he was saying, but you knew what he meant, and it was no doubt what he meant. It was just all just flipped around. Well, he was a blast. He was a lot of fun to play.
Well, Heather Huff wants to know, do you feel prepared if there was ever a real zombie apocalypse, having worked on The Walking Dead now?
No, it's the bear attack theory. You don't have to be the fastest, but don't be the slowest.
Okay.
It's like I would do just as well as anybody.
And so when the producers called you and said, Michael, so this is how we're gonna do it. Did you know? Did they give you some like fair warning for it, or was
I knew. Coming back from the break in episodes. I'm sorry, in season 6 at the break, we do it. The way we shoot the season is we shoot 8 episodes. We take a 2-week break, and then we shoot 8 more. It's the hottest time in Georgia in August, and we've been at it for a while, and the crew's exhausted. So we actually take a break at that time. And then during that break, I zipped off to New York. I think I was doing a convention in New Jersey, and I was walking through the streets of New York, and I got a phone call. It's like, hey, this is Matt, second AD. Just let you know that Scott wants to arrange a phone call for next week. I'm like, I've been on the show 2.5 years and never had a phone call arranged for me, but Scott will just call me. I was like, all right. So I called Scott right away. I go, hey, so you're probably killing me. Call me back. Let's talk about it. And he calls me right back. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, you're going to kill me, right? He's like, well, I mean, you don't have to say it like that. I go, but
well,
you're going to kill me, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, yeah, but let's talk next week. So we're not sure how we're doing it. I go, all right.
Oh,
So, but I was fine because I knew that when I came on, I knew they were going back to more of the model of following the graphic novel a little closer than they had before. So I knew, so in doing the research, I knew that this character had a shelf life, just in the episodes. And I was fine with that, So I came in and did my thing, and as we sort of got near the end, we were kind of getting near episodes that I was like, all right, this is kind of like right where he got it, and so we went past that, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to let it go a little longer, but I'm sure at any point,
Yeah.
and then it happened, So it was, I was fine. I missed the people, although I see them at conventions.
Yeah.
You know, probably more than I saw them on set. Because again, it was serious regulars. There was 22 of us when I was there, and you know, so you were rarely on set all at the same time, rarely.
Mhm.
So I see most of them more than I did working. And I love the group, really talented, fun group. Um, and I'm back there directing now. So
Awesome.
it's like, yeah, it's,
That's great.
I don't feel like I left,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
in
awesome.
some ways.
For those of my audience members who are aspiring actors or parents of aspiring actors, what advice would you give someone who's starting out? Obviously, COVID is impacting a lot of our ability to audition and that sort of thing. But for someone who's thinking about going out to Los Angeles and is like, okay, you know, do I have what it takes? Should I just give it a shot? What advice would you give someone like that?
Oh yeah, always. Oh, if you want to do something, always give it a shot. You know that my advice would be don't give up. You know, and not. There's nobody who knows exactly how to do it. If there was, there would be one book. Everybody would be recommending it. Everybody would be buying it. Everybody would be following it, and everybody would be doing it. Um, there's not, and you know, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of platforms. You have the ability to do stuff at home. You know, now with you know, even the simplest, you know, smartphone, you
Mhm.
can shoot stuff on. So get involved in your local stuff. That's where I started. I started doing theater when I was in third grade. You know, and I
Mhm.
never thought was gonna have a career in film and television at all. I was going to school. I went to school for theater. You know, I figured I was gonna kind of do it on the side and you know whatever because not very many people make a living at theater, especially not me. You know, I was blue collar, grew up in New Jersey. I knew I was going to probably do a construction gig, which I would have been happy with. So I paid my way through school,
Mhm.
and I was going to probably do acting on the side as a pastime, which is fine. Again, if you're into it, keep pursuing it. Always have a backup. You know, a backup job that you love, even if
Mhm.
it's something that doesn't isn't a great paying thing. I was fortunate. My second career is actually very well paying. I became a construction coordinator for film and television. I was a construction coordinator on the first Beverly Hills 90210 right out of college. So my dad taught me construction. I loved it. Had that been my career, I would have been fine with that. I love it. I love showing up somewhere in the morning, looking at a set of plans, a big empty warehouse, and at the end of the day, there's something
Mhm.
standing, and then at the end of 3 weeks, there's an amazing thing that's finished.
Yeah.
I loved it. But if you're not happy, again, this goes back to what we started talking about in the beginning. If you're not happy in your life, um, you're never going to be happy doing this as a career choice ever
Yeah.
because there is so much um, other choices. We won't call it rejection. There's a
Mhm.
lot of times where people choose other people than you for the job, and that's not necessarily a reflection of what's going on with you and your career. Um, it just is, and sometimes it's literally. Because you have blonde hair and they can't think past that they can darken your hair, and I'm not kidding,
Mhm.
or that you're too
Oh yeah.
tall, or you whatever, they didn't like that shirt you wore. There's a million reasons why you don't get, because I've been on all sides of it now, and I've also and as a director I've gotten, hey, um, let's cast this role. Here are the five choices. Who do you like? And all five are amazing. All five are amazing. Could
Yeah.
be any of them. So the literally it's who looks good with who. Um, who can we give an opportunity to? Oh, this guy works all the time and he's fine. This one hasn't. You know what? He made it this far and he's with these five and he hasn't done anything. Let's hire him because we can give him an opportunity. Sometimes that's the choice.
Yeah.
It's real strange.
Yeah.
Basically, the bottom line is don't give up. Follow your passion, but protect your passion, and by protect your passion, protect yourself so that when you don't get the job, you have something else that you actually enjoy doing, and it influences the other way. If you're happy doing your secondary job, when you go in somewhere, you're not going to look as desperate because
Right.
you're not going to be as desperate. It's not
Yep.
about literally how oh, he looked. It's like you're not. you're fine. You'll pay your rent. You're happy. You're going to the movies Friday night with your friends. It's like all that's still happening no matter what happens in this room. But if
Yeah.
that's not the case, and this is the only thing you have, and you
Yeah.
are so desperate, it's gonna they're gonna feel the desperation, and two, if
Definitely.
when you don't get it, you're gonna take it harder than you should.
Hmm.
Um, but follow your dreams. Follow your dreams. Pursue your dreams, but do it with a plan.
Love it. Love it. Well, thanks for being here, Michael. I just have a few more questions with regards to what your favorite films are. So, first question is, what is your favorite film of all time?
Uh, I think I think my favorite film is Fight Club.
Awesome movie.
If you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, watch it. It's not what you think it is. Like if you haven't
Yeah.
seen it,
Yeah.
the advertising. It's a very hard film to advertise. Wonderful film.
Yep. What was your favorite film growing up as a kid?
Oh, E.T.
Good one.
Yeah,
Yep.
aging
Loved it.
myself.
What's your favorite movie that you're embarrassed to say you love?
I'm not embarrassed about anything. It makes me feel good. And if I like a film, like I'm a like I love the cheesy big tentpole summer blockbuster, Transformers, all that. Like, but it's just like it's all CGI, and like I don't care. It's like it's
Yeah.
fucking explosions, and it was like awesome, and I felt great. It's yes, and I love the Queen's Gambit. Okay, but
Yeah.
like you don't have to be either one to the exclusion of the other. It's like yeah, I love a
Yeah.
big cheesy. I thought Waterworld was awesome. I don't know what everybody was complaining about. Look, $200 million. It wasn't your money. Like, who cares how much they spent on the movie? Like, it was great. It was dumb fun.
Yeah. It was Kevin Costner. Who doesn't
Yeah,
know Kevin Costner?
exactly.
Second to last question is, who's your favorite actor or actor who you would like to work with?
My favorite actor. I used to say that I was like, and it was bestowed on me. Someone else said it first, but I kind of liked it. They were like They said early on. They said you remind us of a young J.T. Walsh, and J.T. Walsh had always been one of my favorite character actors, and
He was in A Few Good Men, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like everything. I say yeah confidently, and now I'm doubting it. Pretty sure, yes. He's literally in everything. If you haven't seen any J.T. Walsh films, just watch them. He's just effortlessly amazing.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite actors growing up was John Cusack. In Say Anything, I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing.
Lloyd Dobler.
Lloyd, yeah, kickboxing, sport of the future.
With the boombox outside of her window.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't want to buy anything or make anything or sell anything that's bought or made or whatever. And then do you need me to answer that right now, sir?
Yeah.
What are your plans, son? Do you need me to answer that right now, sir?
Oh, such a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, I don't I have a lot of actors that I love their work. I don't have now favorite actors. There's some people I love, just love their work, and I feel like I've learned as I've gotten older and been doing this long enough. Everyone brings something different, and if you're at that level of the game, it's all valuable, and it's all worthwhile, and it's not wise to close yourself off to something because you have a perception of it.
Yep.
No matter what it is, it's like
Yeah.
I've had some of the most, amazing experiences watching things that I thought, I was told, oh, this is so and so, and it's this way or it's that way.
Yeah.
It's like experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
I just watched talking to Queen's Gambit. I just watched Queen's Gambit, and I was talking to my wife about it. And I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's like I'm watching it in the beginning. I'm kind of like I don't know. This is kind of a slow burn. I'm kind of like I'm feeling manipulated. I'm feeling like they're trying to make it like there's like we're supposed to feel awkward that she's getting close to this old man and he's just a guy who wants to be left alone. I feel like, he's going to be like framed for something that happened to the kids. And I just felt like really, really manipulated. And then my wife's like, just stay with it. She goes, it's worth it. And as it progressed, I fell in love with it. In the end, when she looks up at, I won't give it away. I won't give it away. So
when she goes
in the
back
very
there to
end,
the basement
when what
sees
happens,
what's on the wall.
yeah. And then in the very last chess game, that whole sequence and all the visuals, and I'm like weeping like a baby. I feel like the cavalry came in. It's like some big western. I'm just like, yes! And I'm here alone in quarantine watching it, so I can't. I'm like, literally it's 3:00 in the morning. I'm just like, that was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. That's the sad thing with the pandemic, man. I'm like in my place here watching all these amazing movies by myself. I'm like, did you see? No,
I just started. I just started not Animal Kingdom last night. Frank Grillo.
Oh yeah, I
MMA
worked with
thing.
him. He's a great actor. Yeah,
I worked with him years ago in Prison Break, and I knew he had this show, and I never had time to do it. It was and it reminded me like kind of the way that Southland was shot, and it's kind of like a gritty take on it. And I was like, oh, I got to watch that someday, and it just never happened. And I was going through Netflix last night, and it was late, about 12, and I was like, well, let me see. And I know you got to wrap it up, but I'm sorry.
Keep going, man. I'm good.
Sorry. It's like, I'm in quarantine.
I got a bottle of scotch right here, dude. Keep talking.
It'll be hour 2. And we're just hammered and just sloshed. So I'm sitting here going through Netflix, and it's like, oh, Kingdom. I was like, oh, let me see the preview for that. And 4 episodes later, sun's coming up, and I'm like, oh man, I should go to bed. And then I was sort of like, why?
All right, that's my next series. Well, last question, Michael, is from Joanna and Amy, two my friends. They want to know what inspires you.
Oh, what inspires me? The truth. Truth and happiness.
Is that why you say you're an actor?
I think so. I love telling stories. And when I work as an actor, I always try to get to the truth. And it's whenever things bother me in a script or things I'm having trouble working through in a scene, it's never about me. It's about them. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's our job to get to the truth and to show a truth, because if done correctly, it can affect lives in ways that we don't even know. Mm-hmm. I saw it with Band of Brothers. I saw it with Southland. People would come up to me who were in law enforcement, and they had a connection to these characters in ways that I never knew we were reaching people. And I feel like all of our work can be that for somebody, and we don't even have to know what's happening. But I think if you honor the story, you honor the truth of the character, amazing things happen, and you're not even aware of it. And I think if you live your life like that, you affect people without knowing it. And you don't have to know. I think that if we're all good and kind to each other, other things come out of that. So with my acting, I hope to stay to the truth of what I'm doing, and in my life, I hope that I'm living my life truthfully, telling my story to the best I can tell it.
Well, you've made a huge impact on a lot of people, and you've inspired me with your truth and everything that you've done. You inspired me to be a better actor, and hopefully one day we'll have the opportunity to do it together on set.
I would love that. You seem like a really good dude. For anyone who doesn't know, we don't know each other. We've never met.
Yeah.
And I look forward to meeting you, and I'm sure I will at least at a convention in passing, and hopefully working together.
Sounds good. Thanks, Michael, for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And good luck
thanks,
with
everyone. Stay safe. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Man, I just love doing this. I love meeting and talking to inspiring people. And And this is the cool thing. I mean, Band of Brothers came out 10 years ago, and no way in hell would I have ever thought that I'd be talking to Michael Cudlitz from this show. And here I am. And it's all because of my unending desire and passion for doing this. And what I love about this is, like what Michael was saying, was just sharing the truth, sharing authenticity. And I think I'm in the same camp as Michael when he says that the truth is inspiring, because for me, I feel like it allows for the opening of so much. And when we try to hide who we truly are, when we try to put up the walls and we are afraid to show the world who we really are, it prevents that connection, it prevents the truth, and it prevents that authenticity that makes life truly magical. So keep being your authentic selves. It may seem difficult, but just keep giving it a shot. Just keep trying to peel away those layers, and surround yourself with the people in your life that support you in being your authentic self. So thank you for being here. Another amazing episode, and looking forward to an awesome 2021 with you guys. Again, if you haven't checked out my Inspire Masterclass, which is all about being your authentic, empowered, amazing self, by all means, go to my website, colinegglesfield.com. Check it out. Would love for you to jump in there with us. And for the rest of you out there, looking forward to great things with the year to come. So take care for now. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next week.